The H&B Test Bench is a useful tool for tech inspection for your slot cars for your racing series for in a variety of ways. It's useful not only for getting the RPM of a or the actual speed of a slot car, but for things like running in the slot car. This is the version that comes with power output for oxygen controllers so that you can do speed testing for your oxygen chipped cars. But otherwise it works great for analog cars as well. Comes with a variable voltage power supply from 3 to 12 volts, and the internal electronics don't begin to work until about 5 volts, but you can still use 3 volts as kind of a rolling road to run in your car at a lower voltage. This switch controls the power to the rails, so the unit will actually turn on once it gets 5 volts or above, and after it gets through the boot up process, it'll show the input voltage. So it's currently at 11.9, and I can crank that down. And as soon as I go below 5 volts, the screen, or as soon as I get close to 7 volts, the screen gets dimmer. And then when I go below 5 volts, it cuts off completely. But, for example, if I want to use it as a rolling road, I'll go ahead and flip the switch so that the rails are powered. Actually, before I do that, I'll set up the car. So you put the car on so that the rear wheels are centered on the rollers, and then put your stopper up at the front of the car so it doesn't roll off, and then hit the power, and now you've got about 3 volts at the rails. Now this is, it's not telling us anything, it's just letting the car run, so it's useful as kind of a run-in feature, or maybe a warm-up feature if you use cars that do better at when the motors are warm. But we'll go ahead and turn that off, and then we'll turn it back up to about 12 volts is what I usually measure at. So again, we wait for the boot up, and then the screen is showing us information. So I usually set it about 12 volts. And then when the computer is running at the higher voltage, we do the same thing. We set the car up so that the rear wheels are centered on the rollers and the stopper is preventing the car from rolling forward. And some people, say just go ahead and hit the switch. Some people don't like hitting the switch with the car on. It's all about what you want to do. But I go ahead and hit the switch, and then the screen is going to show us the RPMs of the rollers, right? Because that's how it measures the real world feet per second and miles per hour. On this American version, it shows feet per second and miles per hour. The rest of the world will probably get meters per second and kilometers per hour. But the RPMs are just giving you a baseline number. It's the RPMs of the motor, not the RPMs of the motor in the car. The RPMs of the roller. And that's why it knows how fast the car is going, because it knows the diameter of the rollers, and it knows how many times the rollers rotate per minute. And so it then calculates how fast the car is actually going by feet per second and miles per hour. So again, I'll go ahead and put the car on, line it up, turn it on, and then we're going to look at RPMs, feet per second, and miles per hour. You can see RPMs again, the RPMs of the roller, not the motor. So the rollers are going about 5,000 RPM, which is an actual feet per second of 21.3, and actual miles per hour of 14.5. This is with a 17K NSR Baby King motor and stock gearing. I don't remember the gearing ratio off the top of my head, but it doesn't really matter. And that's kind of the whole point of the test bench is when you have something to measure the actual speed of the car, then you can have rules in your club that allow any motor, any gear ratio, any wheel diameter, anything you want, as long as the car does not exceed a certain actual speed limit. So we can, try a different variety of cars. So here I got my Knight Rider kit car. We'll go ahead and plop it on and see what it clocks in at. So again, line up the rear wheels on the rollers, put the stopper so that the car doesn't roll off, and hit it. So this one is just a little bit slower, but we'll notice that the longer the car goes, the faster it'll go. So after about 30 seconds, the motor will start to even out its speed. And it looks like this one's going to be topping out around just under 5,000 RPM again. So this car is actually about the same speed, ultimately about the same speed as the NSR, based on its gearing and wheel diameter, tire diameter, and all that stuff. And as you can see, this is large enough to do 1/24 cars. So we'll go ahead and put this Carrera DTM on here that I have. Move the stopper forward, put the wheels on the rear, put the rear wheels on the rollers, make sure the stopper is in place, and hit it. Now, a D124 car, which is what this is a Carrera digital 124 car. The motors are rated for 18 volts, so it's not going to go nearly as fast at 12 volts, but you can still use it as a baseline measurement if you're doing car comparisons. So again, we see the actual RPM of the rollers, 2600, going 11.2 feet per second and 7.6 miles per hour. Again, that's at 12 volts. This car is designed to be run at 18 volts. It's depending on the size of your 143rd car, you might be able to get a 143rd car on there. It's a little bit, not enough room, or the slot needs to be a little bit further back if you wanted to do HO cars on it. The rollers are, basically it's not designed for HO scale cars. 143 maybe, but primarily 132nd and 124th cars. If you're interested in getting a test bench, check the description for links. None of them will be affiliate links. I don't have any commercial interest in this product or any other products that I talk about. So just take this as it is and hit the link if you're interested. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below and I'll answer them, or send an email to ggaub@ggaub.com and I'll help you out as best I can. Thanks for watching.